What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to take a look at some games that I think could compete for Game of the Year 2022. Now, we're not done yet. And in fact, in this video, in this list, there's going to be several games that haven't come out yet that I'm hoping can compete with what we already have. This year's been interesting. There's been some really big hits. There's been games, but there's also been long periods of nothingness, to put it lightly. And I really think, to not beat around the bush, there's one game that I think a lot of us can agree is going to rise to the top. And as of right now, if the Game Awards were tomorrow, okay, this game would sweep the board entirely, and that's Elden Ring. Now, I don't actually agree. Elden Ring is not my favorite game of the year, but see, I just said the word right there, favorite. It's not my favorite game. I think to a lot of people, Elden Ring will probably be their game of the year. And again, I think if the awards were tomorrow, the gaming committee, whoever Jeff Keighley has on that board, would vote for Elden Ring to be the best one. And in a way, I actually kind of get it. I mean, I really don't have a great pitch for why it would lose to other games that have come out so far. The best I would have is probably Horizon. Horizon right now is still my game of the year, Forbidden West, obviously. And then Sifu, the martial arts game, which I think is an incredible game. But that's kind of it. I mean, Lego Star Wars, I don't really think it would get there. Evil Dead, the game, is a good multiplayer game, but it kind of died out, and it hasn't really done. I mean, I really just don't know what games right now would compete. Dying Light 2 was decent. I actually think it let me down. I don't know how many other people feel that, but right now it's Elden Ring. Okay, again, to not beat around the bush, Elden Ring I think would kind of sweep and will win more than just Game of the Year. I think it would win best, blank. It would sweep the board. So what games could potentially compete with that? Well, I do think God of War Ragnarok is that other one. Now, I actually have a couple more on this list we'll get to, but in terms of what could happen, and these are all potentials, because you can feel as good as you want for some of these games. They may not, come out in the greatest state, or they may be disappointing. Like, you never truly know about a game until it releases, right? But looking at it right now, if there was a game that could go, again, taking steps back from it, and this is not like a PlayStation fanboy or anything fanboy, it's not a From Software fanboy, taking some steps back, you see Elden Ring kind of as this undisputed king of 2022, and maybe rightfully, maybe wrongfully, God of War Ragnarok, I think, is the only other game that could stand toe-to-toe with it. There are some others. I pray, and I've said this before, I pray a Plague Tale Requiem could get there. But beyond that, I mean, there could be a push for Gotham Knights. I really don't think Gotham Knights would ever enter the Game of the Year, kind of discussion. I really think maybe Pokemon. The game that stands out to me is probably Callisto Protocol. Now, if we're going literally by, like, the Game Awards, which is Jeff Keighley's show, I do believe Callisto Protocol would count. I think you have to come out maybe before, like, say, December 5th or 6th in order to count for the Game Awards. So I think Callisto Protocol comes out the 2nd, December 2nd. Maybe it's the 3rd. But I do think it would make the list. Midnight Suns, Marvel's Midnight Suns, would also technically make the list. I would say Callisto Protocol is the other one. I think, a game being made from the maker of Dead Space, it very much is Dead Space. It's kind of like a spiritual successor, Dead Space 4, but I think that game could really, I don't know, surprise people. I mean, I don't know if anybody isn't watching it, but the game does look phenomenal, and I think it could take those steps. But if we're looking at kind of these toe-to-toe, like, juggernauts, and even, things that Game Awards shouldn't actually care about, but they may, right? Like sales, okay? Like Elden Ring broke sales records. It's one of these best-selling games, which is pretty rare to get from a game that's not Call of Duty, GTA, Red Dead, right? Like, it is pretty rare for Elden Ring to have such good numbers as compared to even those, okay? So, but in my opinion, Game Awards shouldn't consider that, but it does. Let's be real. God of War Ragnarok is the only game from that perspective that could maybe match. Now, God of War exclusive, PS4, PS5, does it sell as much as Elden Ring? Absolutely not. There's absolutely no way. But it can sell well, and I think it would outsell Plague Tale easily, right? Could outsell Callisto Protocol most likely. So I think from that perspective, God of War would be, rather okay. But I just think from these big juggernaut, like, game releases, God of War is the biggest thing. Really, to me, Plague Tale and Callisto Protocol, like I don't know if I can make an argument. Like if I can't make an argument for Horizon, which I do think would probably be the closest thing to a third if we're looking at what could sweep like a game of the year kind of thing. Horizon, I don't know if I can make a case for Midnight Suns. Sonic Frontiers, like that is a game that's releasing, but you know, who knows? Again, you get the Pokemon games. I mean, maybe, but like, you know, Pokemon or even a lot of Nintendo stuff, if it's not, well, I guess like Breath of the Wild. You think of Breath of the Wild, that kind of took over and like everybody widely regards that as a great game and it won Game of the Year awards and stuff. I just don't know if a Pokemon game would kind of sweep or become something that unanimously people agree is the best game that released this year. So yeah, I mean, right now it's Elden Ring. It could still be Elden Ring at the end of the year. God of War's got the best shot. I think Plague Tale from not an indie, because they're not necessarily, it's like a double-A team. It's a double-A kind of game. It's not triple-A, but it looks, feels, all that kind of stuff like a AAA game. That one is kind of like the underdog that may kind of rise. And then maybe Callisto Protocol from that horror perspective and kind of this resurgence. I mean, we're in a good spot for horror, and 2023 is going to be a good spot for horror for games. Callisto Protocol could maybe capture that. You know, we've long missed Dead Space. We get the Dead Space remake, but this game comes out first. Could be better than the original Dead Space, right? So I think that could definitely help it. But beyond that, I don't know. I don't know what other games. Gotham Knights, again, I think will maybe get some consideration, but maybe from like a multiplayer kind of like a co-op perspective. But that's what it's looking like right now. Again, whether you agree or not, like Elden Ring is not my game of the year. I also could care less what gets game of the year. You know, when The Last of Us Part 2 won like 500,000 awards, I didn't care. Whether you like the game or not, it doesn't really matter at all. Sure, it matters to them. Like if they get, you know, Neil Druckmann gets the award and all that stuff, like sure, he probably cares. I don't really think beyond a couple hundred people, anybody should actually care about those awards. Much like Emmys, Oscars, I don't really think that matters like at all. But it is the way that it is. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up. I hope to see you all on the next one.